Once upon a time, Mark Zuckerberg was a college student with a dream to connect the world. He created Facebook, a social media platform that quickly became a global sensation. But the road to success was bumpy, and Facebook has since been hit with a series of scandals that shook the tech world to its core. In response, Zuckerberg made a bold move to rebrand the company as Meta and pivot to the metaverse. But was this decision a wise one? In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the rise, fall, and rebranding of one of the most controversial figures in tech history. Buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. Mark Zuckerberg's journey to becoming a tech giant worth billions began at Harvard University, where he created a website called FaceMash in 2003. The website allowed users to rate the attractiveness of their fellow students based on their profile pictures. Although FaceMash was shut down within a few hours, it gave Zuckerberg the inspiration to create something bigger and better. In 2004, Zuckerberg launched Facebook, a social networking site initially restricted to Harvard students. The platform quickly gained popularity, and within months, it had over half of the university's undergraduate population signed up. Facebook's success was due in no small part to Zuckerberg's leadership and vision for the platform. He saw the potential for social media to connect people and bring them closer together. Zuckerberg's vision for Facebook was not just to create a platform for socializing, but also a means to change the world. He believed that Facebook could help people connect with others from different backgrounds and cultures, creating a more diverse and tolerant world. This was a noble goal, and it helped Facebook grow exponentially. In 2012, Mark Zuckerberg made one of the most significant acquisitions in tech history by purchasing Instagram for $1 billion. Instagram was a photo-sharing app that was gaining popularity among young people, and Zuckerberg saw the potential to bring that audience to Facebook. 2 years later, in 2014, Zuckerberg acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion. WhatsApp was a messaging app that was growing rapidly, and Zuckerberg saw the potential to use it to expand Facebook's reach beyond social networking. The acquisitions were supposed to ensure Facebook's dominance in the social media space. With these acquisitions, Facebook was able to expand its user base and stay ahead of the competition. However, they also brought Facebook under increased scrutiny from regulators and lawmakers, who were concerned about the company's growing power and influence. Facebook's success was short-lived, as it was hit with a series of data privacy scandals. In 2018, it was revealed that Cambridge Analytica, a political consulting firm, had accessed millions of Facebook users' data without their consent. This led to a public outcry and calls for increased regulation of tech companies. Facebook's reputation was damaged, and it struggled to maintain the trust of its users. The scandal exposed a larger problem with Facebook's business model, which relied on collecting user data and using it to sell targeted advertising. Users were not fully aware of how their data was being used, and Facebook was not transparent about its practices. The data privacy scandals led to increased scrutiny of Facebook by lawmakers and regulators around the world. Facebook was fined billions of dollars for its data privacy practices, and Zuckerberg was forced to testify before Congress and other regulatory bodies. The scandals also led to a decline in Facebook's user base, as users became more aware of the company's practices and the potential risks to their privacy. The decline was also due to the emergence of newer social media platforms like TikTok and Snapchat, which appealed more to younger audiences. Mark Zuckerberg's leadership of Facebook has been marred by a series of scandals and controversies. One of the most significant criticisms has been his handling of user data and privacy concerns. Additionally, Zuckerberg has been accused of censorship and bias in the way that Facebook handles content. The company has been criticized for its role in spreading misinformation and propaganda, and for its failure to address hate speech and other harmful content. Zuckerberg has also faced criticism for its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Facebook has been accused of spreading misinformation about the virus, and of allowing anti-vaccine content to spread on the platform. These actions have brought up serious concerns about the power and responsibilities of social media companies. What can be done to ensure user privacy on these platforms? How can we hold companies like Facebook accountable for their actions? These are important questions that must be addressed. The data privacy scandals, along with Facebook's perceived lack of action, led to a decline in its user base. In 2018, Facebook lost around 2.8 million users in the US alone. The decline continued in the following years as users became more concerned about their privacy on the platform. Facebook's reputation was damaged, and it struggled to maintain the trust of its users. The decline was also due to the emergence of newer social media platforms like TikTok and Snapchat, which appealed more to younger audiences. These platforms offered users more privacy and a greater sense of control over their data. Facebook's decline in user base has also had an impact on the company's revenue. Advertisers are less willing to spend money on a platform that is losing users, and Facebook's revenue growth has slowed in recent years. Facebook has faced significant financial struggles in recent years, with declining user growth and falling stock prices. On February 3, 2022, Facebook's stock plummeted 26% in its biggest one-day drop ever, following a weak guidance report. This was preceded by a series of scathing articles released by the Wall Street Journal in September of 2021, citing leaked internal documents that detailed how the company was not only well aware of its practices, but was actively engaging in them. This decline in stock prices reflects investor concerns about the company's long-term prospects. To address these financial challenges, Facebook has implemented cost-cutting measures, including layoffs of over 1,000 employees in 2020 due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on advertising revenue. These layoffs were part of a broader effort to streamline operations and cut costs. The financial struggles facing Facebook and other tech companies highlight the need for them to prioritize user trust and ethical practices. Companies that prioritize user privacy, security, and transparency are more likely to build trust with their users and achieve long-term success in the industry. The fallout from Facebook's scandals and financial challenges serves as a cautionary tale for the other companies in the tech industry, emphasizing the importance of putting users first and investing in ethical practices to ensure their long-term success. In 2021, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook was to become Meta, a company focused on the metaverse. The move was seen as an attempt to distance the company from its troubled past and to pivot to a new area of growth. Zuckerberg's vision for the metaverse is ambitious. He sees it as a virtual world that will be the next evolution of the internet, where people can interact with each other and with digital objects in a more immersive way. However, the move to Meta has been met with skepticism, and Meta's vision for the metaverse has been criticized for being too idealistic. The rebranding was also seen as a way to evade scrutiny and regulation from governments around the world. By moving away from the name Facebook, the company hoped to put its troubled past behind it and start anew. Meta's vision for the metaverse might be great on paper, but it has major problems when it comes to real life. The value behind Meta's tech is not clear, and a greater part of our generation may not want it. The metaverse, as envisioned by Zuckerberg, is a world where people can interact with each other and with digital objects in a more immersive way. However, this world is still very much in its infancy, and there are a lot of questions about what it will look like and how it will work. One of the biggest problems with Meta's vision is that it is very idealistic. The world around us would be crippled if we shift entirely to a virtual world. The metaverse cannot replace real-life experiences like travel, face-to-face interactions, or live events. The metaverse also raises significant concerns about privacy, security, and addiction. Another problem with Meta's vision is that it's too focused on one company's control. If the metaverse is going to be successful, it needs to be an open-source platform that is not controlled by one company. This is essential to ensure that users have control over their data, and that the metaverse is not dominated by one company's interests. In summary, while Meta's vision for the metaverse is ambitious, it faces significant challenges and criticisms. The value of the technology is unclear, and the metaverse raises significant concerns about privacy, security, and addiction. Additionally, the metaverse needs to be an open-source platform that is not controlled by one company. Meta claims that the metaverse is the future, but it has to be open source, not controlled by one company. VR is dying, and it keeps dying and coming back. Meta has invested $100 billion in research for VR technology, which is an absurd amount of money compared to other companies with real numbers and stats. An open-source metaverse is essential for ensuring that the technology is available to everyone, and that users have control over their data. It would also allow for collaboration and innovation across multiple companies and industries, creating a more diverse and dynamic ecosystem. The metaverse has a lot of bugs in its Horizon world, and there are very few active members, much fewer than anticipated. The stats are not in favor of Meta, and the bugs are causing frustration among users. This is a significant problem for Meta, as the success of the metaverse depends on having an engaged and active user base. Bugs and glitches can be frustrating for users, and they can discourage them from using the platform. Meta needs to address these issues quickly if it wants to build a successful metaverse. In this time of recession, investors are not interested in Meta anymore because the company's vision is too delusional. Mark Zuckerberg's stubbornness might cost the shareholders, and that's why they're losing trust in Meta. Investors are losing faith in Meta because of the company's ambitious but unrealistic vision for the metaverse. The company has invested billions of dollars in research and development for a technology that's still in its early stages. Additionally, Meta's reputation for privacy issues and controversies may also be contributing to the loss of investor confidence. The name change from Facebook to Meta has some dark reasons behind it. Facebook has a bad reputation, and Mark Zuckerberg wanted to distance himself from it. The name change to Meta was an attempt to distance the company from its troubled past and to pivot to a new area of growth. However, some have criticized the move as being an attempt to evade scrutiny and regulation from governments around the world. Additionally, the company's reputation for privacy issues and controversies may still be following it, regardless of the name change. Mark Zuckerberg's legacy is a mixed one. He's credited with creating one of the most successful tech companies of all time, but his leadership has been criticized for its lack of transparency and accountability. His vision for the metaverse is seen as ambitious but unrealistic, and it remains to be seen whether it will work. Zuckerberg's stubbornness and lack of transparency have caused a lot of damage to Facebook's reputation, and it remains to be seen whether he can turn things around with Meta. His legacy may ultimately depend on whether he can successfully navigate the challenges of the metaverse and create a platform that's both innovative and socially responsible. The astonishing downfall of Facebook has had a tremendous impact on Mark Zuckerberg's personal reputation. Once considered an inspirational genius, Zuckerberg's reputation has been tarnished by the company's actions, now a symbol of the tech industry's failings. His leadership and handling of Facebook's many scandals have been called into question, with critics accusing him of prioritizing profits over users and of failing to take responsibility for the company's actions. The result? A massive disappointment to those who once admired him. The many scandals and controversies surrounding Facebook have raised essential questions about the future of social media. How can we ensure tech companies are held accountable for their actions? What role should social media play in shaping public discourse? And most importantly, how can we ensure that user data is protected and used ethically? These questions are complex, and there are no easy answers. Still, they are vital if we want to create a better, more responsible social media landscape. The future of social media depends on our ability to hold tech companies accountable and build a more transparent, ethical, and user-centered platform. The negative press surrounding Facebook has highlighted the crucial importance of ethical leadership in the tech industry. Tech leaders must prioritize user privacy and security, and they must be transparent about their practices. They also must be willing to take responsibility for their actions and make changes when necessary. Ethical leadership is not just good for users, it's also good for business. Companies that prioritize ethics and transparency are more likely to build trust with their users and retain top talent. Such companies are also better equipped to adapt to changing market conditions and user needs, avoiding an embarrassing disaster. The increasing scrutiny surrounding Facebook's practices has brought into sharp focus the crucial role of regulation in the tech industry. Should tech companies face greater government oversight? How can we ensure that user data is protected and used ethically? Regulation is a complex issue, and there are no easy answers. However, it's clear that the tech industry must be held accountable for its actions, and regulation can play a significant role in achieving this goal. By setting clear standards for data privacy and security, and by enforcing these standards through penalties and fines, regulators can help ensure that tech companies operate ethically and responsibly, avoiding a horrific downfall. The controversies revolving around Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg underscore the necessity for reform in the technology sector. Tech companies must prioritize user privacy and security, be transparent about their practices, and be willing to take responsibility for their actions and make changes when necessary. Users also have a role to play in driving change. By demanding greater transparency and ethical practices from tech companies, users can help create a more responsible and user-centered tech industry. This requires a shift in mindset, from viewing tech companies as infallible giants to recognizing them as fallible human institutions that must be held accountable for their actions. In conclusion, Mark Zuckerberg's journey from success to failure is a cautionary tale for tech leaders. Facebook's reputation has been damaged, and its future is uncertain. The rebranding to Meta may have been an attempt to distance the company from its troubled past, but it has not been met with overwhelming support. Zuckerberg's vision for the metaverse is seen as ambitious but unrealistic, and investors are losing faith. However, Meta is still a major player in the tech industry, and it remains to be seen whether they can turn things around. Only time will tell whether Meta will be able to create a successful metaverse, or whether it will be another failed experiment in tech.